All right, guys, I have a little bit of a confession. I've been holding something back from you guys. I don't feel good about it, but I think it's time I finally share. I bought a Dunable R2 DE, and we're finally gonna review it. Let's do it! Alright guys, hope you're doing great out there today. If this is your first time here at my channel, my name is Kyle, and what I do is I typically take all sorts of awesome high gain related guitar gear, such as you see behind me. I record it with a simple setup and I give you the unprocessed audio on your end. So if that sounds like something you're into, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any more of my future uploads. Thanks! Alright guys, stupid dramatic intro aside, hope you enjoyed that by the way, and if you didn't, feel free to e-punch me. But many of you guys know that I've had this guitar in my possession for quite some time, and I had always planned on doing a review of it, a dedicated review of it, but like many things on this channel, I kept pushing it back because I was getting other offers and other opportunities, but finally, we're gonna take a look at it today because Dunable straight up asked me to show this to you guys. To you guys. To you guys. Dunable asked me to show this guitar to you guys. They are sponsoring this video, so even though I bought this guitar with my own money, they are paying me to share this guitar with you guys on my channel here, so just want you to keep that in mind. Full transparency, so feel free to take everything that I say with a massive grain of salt, but just know I'm gonna be honest with you guys as I always am. And with this guitar, that's gonna be easy because there is not much with this thing that I don't like. Now Dunable launched these probably about a year and a half ago. It's been quite a while already, and as soon as I saw them, I knew that I wanted one because frankly, I've wanted a Gibson RD for a long time. But Dunable is one of the only companies that have kind of taken that RD shape and have stayed faithful to it, but changed it just enough to make it their own. And on top of that, Dunable has all sorts of awesome finish options, as well as custom pickups, configurations, all sorts of stuff like that. But honestly, you guys know me and you guys know that I'm a little cheap when it comes to guitars. It takes a lot for me to spring for a custom order guitar. In fact, I've never done it before. So when Dunable announced that they were going to be making an import line of their R2 and a couple of other models, I immediately knew I was gonna own one at some point. So my band Bushido Code was on tour in 2021, towards the end of 2021, and we just happened to be playing in Chicago, and I knew that I wanted to stop by Chicago Music Exchange, so Derek Verici and myself took a little trip over there, and as I'm browsing the guitars, what do I see hanging on the wall? I see two of these R2 DE models hanging there. There was this one, and there was the Silver Burst model. Now, naturally, you guys know I love a Silver Burst, and I gravitated towards that one, but the flat black, man, it just looks so mean. I mean, before I drop it and break the headstock off of it, just look at this thing. Now I'm all blown out in the camera. This is going great. Here, we'll look at it in this camera. Look how sick this thing looks. I mean, I made a community post and there were a couple people who said that they thought that this was ugly, and you know, that's okay. Opinions can be wrong and yours is wrong. I personally think that this is an incredibly mean looking guitar, like all blacked out like this. If you guys are familiar with this model, you will notice that the knobs have been changed out. Chicago Music Exchange were nice enough to do that for me when I purchased the guitar, but everything else about this guitar is 100% stock. As soon as I played this one, I knew this was the one because this one just has a really loud and resonant like feel to it. Like when I play it, I feel connected to the guitar, and that's a big thing for me. That's one reason why I love like Gibson faded guitars, is they just resonate better and they feel a lot more lively in the hands, and this reminded me of that right off the bat. It is just very resonant, very loud, has a great tone when you plug it in as well. The action was set up like superb from the factory, and yeah, I just fell in love right away. Bought it at the brand new price, which you guys know I never do that. So that must be saying something about the guitar. So let's go over some of the specs of this guitar, and then we will plug it into some of my favorite amplifiers, and I will give you guys some sound samples. So starting off with the body, we've got a mahogany body here, and as you can see, I'm holding it with one hand and moving it around. It's very light, and so was the other one that I had. If you look at the front of the guitar, We've got a Tunematic bridge, which you guys know is a must for me. I just love the feel of palm mutes on Tunematic bridges. These are not brand name though, these are just generic Tunematic bridges, so no Tone Pros or Graphtec or anything like that. At that $12.50 price point, I do think that that is one area where they could probably improve with something that's a little higher quality. Moving up to the pickups, we have some Dunable in-house pickups in this thing, and they are the Cthulhu set. The bridge is gonna be an Alnico 5 magnet, and it's going to come in around 12K resistance. The neck, also an Alnico 5 magnet, and that's gonna be about 10K resistance. These pickups are definitely a little bit on the darker, on the smoother side, and I was surprised to read that it was a 12K output on that bridge pickup because it seems even lower than that. These actually seem really pulled back in the output department. They're probably my least favorite part of the guitar, and I don't dislike them. So that may tell you something, but for my style, they're a little bit rounded off on top. I want something a little bit more aggressive in the upper mid frequencies and a little bit tighter and punchier on the low end. But because the Dunable stuff kind of more or less caters to the Doom community, I think these pickups are perfect for that. And then as far as controls, we have a 3-way pickup selector switch, and we've got our volume and tone controls here. Nothing crazy. Moving up to the neck, we have a mahogany neck with an ebony fretboard. We've got 22 nickel silver jumbo frets. We've got a nice white binding here. And one of the things that I love about this is the 25.5-inch scale, staying true to that original RD recipe with the 25.5-inch scale. This guitar is really well balanced if you move the strap button, because as you can see, the strap button comes placed on the top of the guitar. I think that that is a horrible placing for it because I played a show with this the first night that I had the guitar. Of course, that's always a horrible idea, but I was too excited not to. And I was having issues with the balance of the guitar with the strap button up here. So I went ahead and moved it to the back. After I moved it to the back, zero issues. This thing sits on me absolutely perfect. And again, balance between the neck and the body is great once you move that strap button if you're willing to do so. This is one of my favorite guitars to play standing up because it just sits on me so perfectly. On the back, as you can see, we've got the tummy cut, we've got the contour going all the way up the back of this upper bout here. And then on the front, you've also got a forearm carve, and it's just an incredibly comfortable guitar. It's very well balanced, and I really enjoy this thing. I've kept it stocked because I wanted to finally make a review for you guys here on the channel, but once I make this review, I'm gonna swap these pickups out a little bit, and you may end up seeing it more on the channel moving forward after I do that, once I get something a little bit more my speed in here. But as far as the final appointments on this guitar, for the nut, we have a Graphtec Tusk nut. That is nice, always love to see that. Gonna keep your guitar in tune really, really well, because that is where most of your tuning issues come from. And on the back of the guitar, we have these open back tuners, which I thought were really, really interesting. I've never owned a modern electric guitar with open back tuners on them, but they're really smooth. This guitar holds tune just fine. I don't have any tuning issues with it. I don't have any intonation issues with it. So really, other than the pickups, not being to my personal taste, which that's really not much of a factor because most people like to swap out pickup to their personal taste no matter what comes in a guitar. I guess my only negative points about this thing would be the strap button location and the fact that the bridge and tailpiece are generic at that $1,250 or $1,300 price point, depending on where you buy this guitar. I would like to see that changed in the future. Just, again, that's my opinion. But one last point about this, you get a padded Dunable fitted gig bag with this. I have used that gig bag quite a bit because it's got the shoulder straps and it has a nice front pocket. It's good enough to take it to practice, to take it around town, but if you want to take this thing in a van or take it on tour or something, you're probably gonna want to invest in another case, which is gonna ring you up another $200 and $250. But I wouldn't expect a case at that $1,250 to $1,300 price point, honestly, and it's a nice enough gig bag that I've been getting use out of it, so another nice touch. But yeah, that pretty much rounds out all of the features of this guitar. As you can see, this thing has been played. It's got little dents and dings. I'm starting to wear through the satin finish a little bit, and we've got plenty of pick scratching and stuff on the pick guard here. So you guys know that I have been playing this guitar. It's made some appearances in some videos, but I think we should plug it into some of my favorite amps sitting behind me, mic it up with an SM57, and hear how belligerent this thing can get. Let's do it. All right, guys, so I have the Dunable here. I have picked out 4 choice amplifiers. We have all of those amplifiers going into my Mesa 412 traditional cab. I've got my SM57 on that cab. And as always, there will be no post-processing on the tones that you guys hear. I've got some assorted overdrives beside me, which I will call out as they are on, and we're gonna hear some tones. And believe it or not, we're gonna start off with something a little crunchier instead of full balls to the wall distortion because it's my channel and I wanna do that. And also because channel 1 on the Mesa Boogie dual rectifier Roadster in the tweed setting has one of my favorite crunch channels of all time. It sounds great. Here we go. Nice and chimey, full in the mids, and it's got a decent amount of low end. Right now I am pushing it with a TS9 tube screamer. That's it. So here's a riff. All right, guys, so as you can hear, even though I have the treble and presence pushed on the crunch channel of this amplifier, it is still kind of rolled off on the top end, and that is all the pickups. I've also got the gain dimed, still not a lot of output even with an overdrive. Also, you guys don't know this, and I don't know why I'm sharing with you, but this is the first time that I've picked up a guitar in a couple weeks. Taking a little bit of a step back from playing for a minute, and this is actually making me really happy right now. So, yeah, sounds great, but let's get into the belligerents. We're gonna go over to channel 4, we're gonna go down to D standard, and we're gonna play a riff from my band Human Animal, a little bit more of a punk rock riff with a lot more saturation to it. Alright, so again, even with treble frequencies boosted using an MXR M77 with the tone pushed up as far as an overdrive goes, it's still just got this rolled off thing on top. It's got a little bit of that kind of like nasally mid thing going on as well, and that is definitely these pickups. These pickups impart a heavy voicing. At least on the rectifier, I'm definitely hearing the characteristics of these pickups through this amp more clearly than we might on something like, say, the 6505, which we're gonna move to now. All right, guys, so we have moved over to the 6505 1992 original. I am using the Boss SD1 Wazacraft, and I have the amp set up for a little bit more of a chunky thrash tone. I love 5150 style amps. All right, sounds awesome. This guitar plays so good. This thing is so fun to play. If you are sitting down though, You have to kind of get it right in the right position. The upper bout is kind of sticking into my rib cage a little bit, and of course this is gonna vary person to person because not everybody is shaped like a weirdo like myself, so this may sit better on you sitting down than it does on me, but I am noticing I'm really kind of having to brace it against myself to keep it from like sliding backwards like this, and it's not a weight thing, it's just the shape of the guitar. But remember, as I said earlier in the video, this guitar sits perfectly on me standing up once I move that strap button, and to me, that's what's important because that's where I spend most of my time playing. But as far as the tone, again, the characteristics of the pickups, I definitely don't hear them as extremely or as prominently in the 6505, but I still hear it. It's kind of taken away some of the clankiness that I love so much about this amp. If you are a doom guy or if you're a stoner rock type guy, you're gonna love these pickups. If you're somebody like me who likes something a little bit more open, a little bit more aggressive in the upper mids, probably not gonna be for you, but again, pickups are a matter of taste, and overall the guitar feels resonant and extremely fun to play. So I'm gonna move up to the Engel Fireball, and we're gonna play a little drop C hardcore riff. All right guys, Engel Fireball 25 engaged, and I have the Electric Eye Mud Killer boost on in front of the amp. Here we go. All right, so other than being slightly out of tune because I didn't tune it correctly, it sounds really chunky, really percussive, and I also forget how awesome this little Engel is sometimes. So last but not least, I pulled out the Orange Dark Terror because I think that this guitar is kind of like made for orange amplifiers with the voicing, so I think it's gonna sound really good on that. All right guys, last but not least, Orange Dark Terror. We're gonna play a little bit of a sludgier hardcore riff, and I already can tell you, this amp, this guitar, perfect together. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for me today on the Dunable R2 DE. What do you guys think about this guitar? Let me know down in the comments. I'm curious to see if you kind of agreed with my assessment overall of the tone of the pickups. I'm kind of curious to see which amp you liked it best through, or if you didn't like it at all. And of course, if you have one of these guitars or have experience with it, or even have experience with the Dunable USA stuff, let me know down below in the comments, and let me know if you want to see more of this on the channel, because I gotta be honest, I love this guitar. This is a forever keeper guitar for me. I knew that when I bought it because I don't buy things new unless I really love them. So as soon as I get the pickups changed out of here a little bit more to my liking, I know that this thing is just gonna get tons and tons of use, even more so than it already has, and yeah, it's a guitar that I love, if you can't tell. But again, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and I'll link to a couple of dealers that have these in stock if you guys want to check them out. And yeah, if you liked the video, hit that like button on the way out because it really does help. Consider subscribing if you're not subscribed already so you don't miss more belligerent amateurness. I don't even know, that's not a thing. Whatever, so you don't miss any more of my uploads. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Kyle here again. We'll see you next time. You know what this wall is missing? Another amp. There we go.